Welcome to the Genesis of the Doctor podcast, where we're taking a journey through the time and space of the history of Doctor Who. I'm Joy.
And I'm Triss.
And for today's episode, we're watching the first and second serials of Season 17 with Destiny of the Daleks and City of Death. Obviously, Destiny of Daleks opens up with one of the weirdest regeneration scenes that Doctor Who has had.
Yeah. That was something, that's for sure.
Romana just tries on like 5 different bodies.
Are they credited anywhere? Like all these other alternate Romanas?
I know you can find online what their names are. I don't think like on the show it said who they were though.
Okay. Yeah, very strange take on regeneration. I feel like it's hard to say, right? Because we're only in the 4th Doctor, and the idea of regeneration so far has only been in Death, but it's been kind of serious. It's not like what it is nowadays, right? Like, it's not this great big... Nowadays, this is great big send-off, and it kind of was back then, because it was the change in the actor for the Doctor. So, like, It would have been nice to have a reason for Romana regenerating, but I feel like this feels like it was an attempt to make the idea of regenerating not seem so scary, not seem like death. But it's awkward.
Yeah. I find it so weird how, like, the Doctor just decides Romana's not allowed to use this body or that body. It's like, it's not really your choice, Doctor.
No, that's rather strange. Also, how Lalla Ward is literally just in her costume from the previous set, like as the princess.
Yeah,
that's kind of strange for starting that off.
You know, it's funny that the Doctor says you're not allowed to copy somebody else's body, and like the Doctor will do that one day.
Yeah. I can understand the idea of we just met this person. I don't think it's right for you to immediately assume their body. That can cause problems. Like, I get that, but.
And then I also liked how, you know, when she shows up in his costume, then he's like, oh yeah, this one's great. I like this one.
That was a funny bit. That one was a funny bit, but that was clearly already Lalla Ward and just in a different costume. I like when they play the jokes for choosing the costumes. But for the whole regeneration sequence of choosing different bodies, yeah, that was definitely weird.
Yeah. I know Expanded Universe material has always said that, like, she only used one regeneration here. It's not like she regenerated multiple times or anything.
She doesn't keep going back in the room and constantly regenerate.
Yeah. It's just like how the 10th Doctor can grow a hand again.
Yeah.
In the first few hours. You can also, if you're
like
better
face.
Trained on how to control yourself, you can do this. Although there is one novel that said it was actually the TARDIS playing a trick on the Doctor, and Romana's not actually in this story. And it's the TARDIS pretending to be Romana for some reason.
Kind of funny. Yeah, so, like, I don't know. I definitely think... I want to say, oh, yeah, they had to work around the awkwardness of not having her there for the regeneration. But as we established before, she was willing to come back for the regeneration, and they just said no.
Yeah.
So it's awkward. But beyond that, the actual episode of Destiny of the Daleks, I was going in very excited at the prospect of finally having other Time Lords dealing with Daleks.
Yeah.
But... Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think this story is... It's much like Terry Nation's other stories. It's just a very formulaic Dalek story.
It's very much... There is another species at war with the Daleks, and the Doctor and companions align with them, and they're able to stop the Daleks. There was a bit more on top of it this time, since there's the Movellans, which are kind of awkwardly dealt with, and then there's all the, not even just humans, just all the captives, the prisoners.
Yeah. You can definitely tell that, like, you know, sometimes I like Terry Nation stories, but sometimes it's just very... He's just using the same idea every time.
I'm a little surprised that this one was only 4 episodes, because it felt a little slow to start and then like really quick to wrap up.
Yeah.
The people fighting off the Movellans was kind of poorly done, in my opinion. I
Yeah.
don't think they did anywhere near enough to convincingly make the Movellans as advanced and on par with the Daleks to truly be in a stalemate if they're stopped by people running up and taking their power banks off.
Yeah.
Or
It's so
in,
funny
in,
that
in Romana's case, walking up to them and grab, like in a line, and they do nothing about it. Like, can the
yeah,
Daleks
it's
really
so
not deal
funny
with
to have
that?
like your weak point just on your belt. You can just pull off the battery just by grabbing something on their belt, and then they
Yeah.
can't do anything.
Yeah. It's strange, frankly. Also, how just casually a couple of them get reprogrammed by one of the prisoners,
Yeah.
and they never address that again. There's a lot of little weirdness. Did the Movellans ever come back? Do we know?
Uh, they show up very, very briefly in the first episode of Series 10 when we see the Dalek in the pilot. The Movellans are in that scene. That's the only time they come back on the show, though.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Like, when they very briefly see a Dalek in the pilot there's, like, people fighting the Dalek, and those people are Movellans.
Those are oh my god. All right. Wow, my favorite season, and I didn't even click that. All
They're
right,
only
you
there
know
for,
what?
like,
Actually,
one scene.
that's a fun reference. But also in that scene, they definitely seemed much more like people than robots.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. I almost feel like this story would have worked better if this was the first time the Daleks and the Cybermen came together.
Yeah. Would have been
Because
interesting.
I don't feel like they do enough to properly convince the Movellans are competent as
Yeah.
enemies of the Daleks and as robots. They tell us that the Movellans are also like a warrior race and the Daleks can't let them win either, but like they don't really present their threat and anywhere near as much as the Daleks. But I feel like if it was a Cyberman, that would have been conveyed pretty damn well.
Yeah. And this is also the one story that just decides Daleks are robots, which is weird.
Yeah.
I
How
think
did
this
you
is like
feel?
this is the only time I think where they're robots. They're never robots in any other story.
Yeah, that
They
was
don't
a
bring
bit
that back.
strange here. But even beyond the strangeness of the Daleks being specifically robots, how did we feel about Davros here?
He definitely wasn't as compelling as his last appearance, I would say. Like he's
Yeah.
kind of okay, but
He
he
felt
doesn't
like a different
do
actor.
much.
He felt like a different actor.
Yeah.
He did not feel anywhere near as megalomaniac as he was before. And there was this
Yeah.
weird level of respect for the Doctor, like a mutual respect for in terms of like the Doctor's intellect. That wasn't really there in Genesis of the Daleks, and when you consider Davros's perspective of he basically went to sleep and woke up, and the Doctor's here again. That megalomania should not be gone, and that respect for the Doctor should not be there.
Yeah.
He's radically different, I feel like, than how he was in that previous story. He's also weirdly clued into what the Daleks are doing, which doesn't make any sense either.
Yeah. There's a lot of it that's just a bit weird about the writing of Davros.
They set it up as if he's like, oh, my Daleks are obeying me again. My Daleks have come to rescue me. And they set it up as if we're going to learn that they're not the Daleks that he made and they're nothing like what he wanted them to be. And they make it sound like they're going to betray him. Which, like,
Yeah.
modern Who has played into the idea of, like, oh, no, he's like their pet. It's because they need him, but they don't like him. And, you know, he's the creator. Maybe they worship him. But, like, they didn't do any of that here. There was this weird disconnect here where half the time it felt like the Daleks had some greater plan involving him, that while we know they needed him to reprogram their computers for the logic and all, they presented it as if they were willing to throw him away or dispose of him because they only needed him as a tool. And you would think he would feel something about that, but they never went anywhere with that.
Yeah. He's definitely not nearly as good as he was in Genesis of Daleks.
No,
that's for sure.
I actually kind of feel like, while I know I was saying the Mavellans were not very good, and I feel like they struggled. I actually feel like Davros was a bit disappointing in this story because I had a lot more expectations out of the return of Davros here.
I almost feel like it would maybe be better if he just wasn't in it.
Yeah.
They had something else there.
Yeah, I guess they wanted to write in an explanation for Davros ever appearing again, so here we go. But
yeah, he was just too popular, so they had to bring him back.
Mm-hmm. I think you said he's in every Dalek story for the rest of the classics, right?
Yeah, he always
okay.
shows up with them.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not bothered by that. I just hope it's done a bit better the next times.
Yeah, I know Terry Nation never comes back, so it's going to be a different take on him for sure.
Okay, that's not too bad.
I will also note that this story was heavily rewritten by Douglas Adams, so
yeah,
you can kind of tell that because there's a lot of humor in it.
There's a lot of humor, yeah.
Apparently, Terry Nation was not happy with some of the humor in it because he felt like he always wanted Daleks to be threatening, and then if you make jokes with them, he doesn't like it. Like he didn't like when the doctor's like, you can't follow us up here because you can't climb up a rope. And Terry Nation didn't like that scene there.
See, I think that's funny because I think you could use that to fuel hatred from the Daleks. But
yeah,
no, there's little things like that I appreciate that they were there, but I guess Terry Nation didn't. I do agree, though, that I do think a Dalek story should be a bit more serious in tone than this one was. However, I don't think it was the jokes that ruined that. I honestly do feel like it was the Mavellans that kind of ruined that.
Yeah. This also has the famous scene where they showed the scanner and the doctor is like, oh, look, rocks. And it's, people say that's a joke because that's where they always land, is always in a quarry.
Yeah, always in a quarry. They clearly, the Doctor and Lalla Ward clearly already had a good dynamic, though.
Yeah.
Tom Baker and Lalla Ward worked well together, and I think the Doctor and Romana had good banter already, which is good.
Yeah.
Because I was a little worried about what her first appearance was going to be like. Like, I was looking forward to meeting her and seeing what this new take on Romana was going to be like. I think I like her better in City of Death, which we'll get to shortly. But I did like her here.
Yeah. I kind of liked how her costume in this is also just kind of the Doctor's, but different colors.
Yes. I actually really did like that, because I think it helped sell the idea of them being almost equals, but she's just less experienced. I also loved the banter they had when the Doctor got trapped under rubble, and she went to go get K9 to help.
Don't go anywhere, and he's like, oh, I was hoping you wouldn't say that.
There's just something about the banter of, like, yeah, they know each other well, they get along well. My only gripe is I wish there was a bit more into why she's still choosing to travel with him, even though the mission is over for the key to time. Because that was the only reason why she was with him in the first place. She was assigned to him for that. And some sort of explanation for why she's still traveling with him would be nice.
Yeah. Because you definitely feel like, in last season, it definitely feels like she's only there because she knows she needs to be.
Yeah.
Like, they kind of like each other, but maybe not enough for her to want to stay.
And especially how against her he was at first, like having someone to question him, basically, not just a normal companion, but like another Time Lord. He definitely had like problems with her being on there as well, and they still kind of have that dynamic where it's kind of funny, where like she's able to tell him no, that's wrong, because she's also a Time Lord and she knows these things, but they're not really doing it for more than just banter now.
Yeah.
Even just a line of like, this journey for the key to time really showed me how valuable experience off Gallifrey is like. I think I would like to stay for more, and then the Doctor can be like, "Oh, I can show you some wonders of the universe." Now, I know the reason why this one starts up is because of the randomizer in the TARDIS. Like,
Yeah.
they set themselves randomly in space, so that's why. So it's not like she can just leave and he can return to Gallifrey and bring her back. But I still feel like some explanation beyond the randomizer would have been nice.
Yeah. Could even be like her saying that, she wants to make sure the Black Guardian doesn't find her either, or something.
Yeah.
But she doesn't say anything like that.
Nope.
And then, the randomizer is sort of complicated when you get to the next story, and the Doctor's just piloting the TARDIS perfectly. In City of Death, he just
Yeah.
can go anywhere he wants, even though he's supposed to have a randomizer on it.
Except for the fact that he keeps landing in inconvenient places in Paris that require them to run across the entire city.
Yeah.
Which, I guess, should we move on to City of Death then?
Yeah, I didn't really have too much on Destiny of the Daleks.
It was a fun little Dalek story, but I would definitely rate it a bit lower.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I did like, though, that, like, the humans were all wearing, like, old recycled costumes, which was funny.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah.
One of them was wearing a draconian cloak.
I did notice that, yeah. Like, it was a hodgepodge of costumes, but something about it kind of worked.
Yeah, because it's kind of established that, like, they're all from different places. They all just kind of crashed on Skaro at
Yeah.
one point or another. Would have been funny if one of them was, like, in a full costume of one of the aliens, but
That would have been nice if they weren't just all humans, or,
yeah.
human appearance.
Yeah, then we can move on to City of Death. And I totally thought K9 was in this one, but I guess he wasn't yet. K9 doesn't show up until the third story of the season.
Nope. So, we're a bit K9-less right now.
Yeah. City of Death, though, I liked it. I didn't think it's, like, worthy of winning all the Doctor Who polls as the best fourth Doctor story, but I did like it.
I did really like it, and I would put it kind of high up, actually. I wouldn't put it at the top, though.
Yeah.
There was a lot of good in City of Death. Boy, did they enjoy their location shooting and make sure they used all their budget for the location shooting, because there
Yeah.
was a lot of scenes of them just running around Paris.
This was the first time they ever filmed outside of the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they definitely enjoyed it. A funny story of behind the scenes, though, was that they were making plans with, like, different businesses for when they were to go film there. And then they didn't realize they were going there on a holiday. And a lot of the places were shut down on the day.
Aww.
So they had a lot of issues when they got there.
That's unfortunate.
Like the art gallery where the TARDIS is parked, they were supposed to film, like, at the actual location, and then it was shut down on the day that they went there. So they just had the Doctor go up to the door and push on it, and then they did set shooting for the interior. But then the funny story is, when he pushed on the door, he pushed on it too hard, and they activated the alarm.
Oh,
And then
my
they all
God.
ran.
That's so funny. Thank you, Tom Baker.
Yeah.
God.
And then
That's actually really fitting to the story, too. That's really funny.
I think the cafe as well was, like, they were supposed to film at a different cafe, and then they had to last minute find a new cafe to film at. And then Tom Baker talked about how, like, it was very weird filming there because nobody recognized him, whereas when they did location shooting in the UK, everybody recognized him.
Right.
Because Doctor Who wasn't airing in France at the time, so nobody knew what Doctor Who was.
That's pretty funny, actually.
But yeah, you can definitely tell they enjoyed their time there.
No, they definitely clearly enjoyed their time. There were so many scenes of them just running around outside. But I love that the start of it really is they're actually just there to have a good time. The Doctor's just showing her Paris before they get roped up into something else entirely.
And I like a scene at the front when they're saying, like, hey, do you want to just fly off of the Eiffel Tower? And the Doctor just implies that maybe they can fly. Like, Time Lords can fly, I guess, and this is the only time they ever say that.
Potentially. It's I love the nods to like these other powers and abilities that Time Lords have that just like never come up again. Like it's really
Yeah.
silly, and this happens even in modern era. Like there's just like so many things, and it just makes you wonder how much is real and how much is just they just wanted to be funny in the moment. The humor
I
in
will
this
say
story was quite good though.
yeah. With the flying idea, though, that was actually improv, and the original line was jumping. So flying was the thing they came up with, the actors.
Yeah, it works a little bit better there.
Yeah. I think some of this story just kind of confused me, though, because, like, the whole crux of the story is they want to steal the Mona Lisa so they can sell it, so that they can fund their science experiment, and then the science experiment is done before they sell the Mona Lisa. So they didn't need the money,
So it's
which is confusing.
it's done before they sell it because they have Romana to make
Yeah, I guess.
the stabilizer. But if they didn't have Romana, they would have needed to pay for all those crazy things, and it would have taken a lot
Yeah.
longer. So having a Time Lord in the mix kind of gets in the way of, or rather speeds up all those plans of trying to advance humanity that he had to do all that.
Yeah.
But I do agree, it is kind of funny that selling the Mona Lisa was the idea. Like, out of all the ideas, stealing and selling it and having all these authentic copies, very silly. Very
Yeah.
silly. But it worked for the idea of the story, because even though there was a lot of, like, tense moments, the story was mostly a very silly story.
Yeah.
You constantly have Duggan bumbling and breaking things and them always making jokes about it. And it was just like a lot of fun, clearly, throughout this story. It's a fun story. The character writing is quite good in the banter that they have. There's a lot of running around, not even just around Paris. The Doctor having a lot of funny little jokes to old Leo, when he goes back in time. There's a lot of little moments actually that I can see why this would be so high up there for somebody. Because I also think
Yeah.
Romana's quite good in this story, which is
Yeah.
better than she was in the previous story.
I like how they kind of just give Romana her own companion because Duggan's just with her for so
Yes.
much of it.
Yes.
And I totally loved the scene when, like, she tells Duggan that, like, you break glass so often, and then he smashes a bottle of wine on the table.
Yeah.
And that's how he opens it.
Yep. Like, immediately. There was also the really funny joke when they went back. I thought it was quite funny when they went back in time to 400 million years, and they're like, "Oh, this is the Atlantic." It's like, but this is land. And Romana's comment is clearly he doesn't get the depth or something like that. Like
Yeah.
a joke about the depth of the ocean. Like I thought that was actually quite clever. The writing was pretty clever in this story, and it was quite fun to go through.
And in that scene at the end there, I also loved how Duggan points at the spaceship. It's like, that's a spaceship. It's like,
Yes.
I mean, you kind of went way back in time to see a spaceship that you knew was going to be there.
Yeah.
That's what they told you was happening.
The way he was barely following along, I think in any other story would have been a lot more annoying, but they
Yeah.
did just the right amount here that it wasn't that annoying. It was like just on that line of humorous because he just doesn't get it. He's barely
Yeah.
keeping up with what's going on, and every time they try to get him to understand or he reacts, it's for humor.
Yeah.
Kind of making him the butt of the joke, but also like he is still helpful. So I like how it was done. I could also understand someone being like, "God, Duggan was really annoying."
Yeah. I also quite enjoyed the scene when the Count catches them in the basement, and then the Doctor's asking him questions. He's always answering with one-word answers, and he says, "I like concise answers."
Yes.
He said, "Good." And then he starts asking the Doctor questions, and the Doctor starts answering with one-word answers.
Yep. No, there was definitely some great character writing here and some great banter between
Yeah.
characters. The only one that I think genuinely disappointed me that I have written down here is I think the Countess should have been handled so much better.
Yeah.
They keep teasing like they're gonna do something with her. They're gonna do something with her. She's gonna figure something out. She's gonna become involved, and all it is she realizes his ramblings about achievement and the old artifacts that he had might be genuine because something's up with him and he's there, and oh gosh, even though I thought the doctor was joking, he might be right, even though she never saw the alien form of him before then, so that was a bit strange to have realized upon seeing that. To then get killed by the bracelet?
Yeah.
What was the point in the bracelet if it was just to kill her? He could have killed her any other way.
Yeah. He's definitely the disappointing element of the story, I would say. Could have done a lot more with her. Like, turning her against the Count would have been interesting if they actually did something with it.
Yeah, instead of using it as an excuse for him to kill her. Like, I think it would have been cool if he had to go back to all of his pieces first before going back to the last one, and then they work with the Countess to figure out from his artifacts where all the pieces are. That would have been really cool. And that would have made sense for her involvement because it's his collection that she has access to.
Yeah.
But alas.
There is also the very famous line of the Doctor saying, "You're a beautiful woman, probably." That's the line everybody points to say probably. That the Doctor's asexual. Is that,
Yeah.
Probably, I don't know. I wouldn't know these things.
There's also the scene of him sitting in the chair when he's kind of leaning back and he waves. That gets used so much whenever people talk about Tom Baker. That little clip gets used so much. There's also... Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I loved how, like, Duggan picks up the chair and he's like, "Put that down. That's a Louis King's
chair.
You can't just throw it at someone."
Have some respect. Yeah, I really love the fact that they kept playing up how Duggan is just willing to destroy things, but also just the Doctor just wants them to be more civilized. Like, oh, why is it every time I'm having a conversation with someone, you punch them?
Yeah.
I also love the guest appearance of John Cleese when they're running to the TARDIS to go back 400 million years, and there's the two at the museum, and they're just like, "Oh, this is a stunning piece of art," and they're talking as pretentious people do when really looking at art in a museum, trying to find value in what's right in front of them, even if, as you notice, it's clearly not supposed to be there, and they just take it dematerializing as part of the art exhibit. Like, it's a very silly little scene, but I think it also sums up the humor of this era with Douglas Adams pretty well.
Yeah. And the woman there with him is Eleanor Braun, who I don't know her from much, but she was apparently very well known at the time as well, just like John Cleese. I think she was in a bit of Monty Python, and she was in like one of the Beatles movies as well.
Okay.
And so a lot of people knew them. And the two of them only agreed. They only got them because, one, Douglas Adams knew them, because like he also did Monty Python work, and two, they just happened to be at studio that day, so he just asked them to do it.
So and then they only, a really quick scene.
They agreed to do it only on the condition that they not publicize it ahead of time, so it would surprise everybody when it aired.
Fair. That works so much better for cameos. So like, good on them, honestly.
Because they were very well known people at the time, so everybody would have been freaking out. Yeah, that was a great scene there. I also just love that at the end, we defeat the villain by Duggan just punching him in the face.
I love that.
Is defeated.
I do love that Duggan's bumbling and quick to throw hands was kind of what saved the day. But I also love how that only had Skyroth go back, but then because he never revealed his true form to the people working for him, that was his undoing, because then Herman just destroys the mansion, I guess. They had a really harsh jump cut. So I think it destroyed the mansion, and only one of the Mona Lisa survived.
Yeah,
But
I think it's supposed to be that, like, since he threw it at him while he was in the machine, it made the machine blow up, I guess.
yeah,
So then only one Mona Lisa survived, and it's one of the fakes. Although, later material has suggested that the Doctor just so happens to have the real one in his TARDIS somewhere. So the Doctor
well,
just kind of stole the real one.
he could have gone back and done that. Also, the Mona Lisa is also like very distinctly a plot point in an episode of Sarah Jane's series. That's one of the episodes I remember the most. So
Yeah.
that's also quite strange, but
Yeah.
that's a bit different.
And I was reading, I think somewhere it mentioned that, like, the Doctor is, like, weirded out by... When the Doctor shows up in Sarah Jane Adventures, I think he makes a comment about, like, it's weird that the Mona Lisa had, like, whatever it was that explained, like, why it was weird. Because he was there to see it get painted, and it didn't have the stuff in there.
That's, the whole problem with different timelines and whatnot. Who knows?
Yeah.
Doctor changes so much. Maybe, things get messed up along the way.
And kind of coincidentally, this is the Doctor Who story that had the most amount of viewers ever. Mostly because, like, the other network was on strike at the time, so nobody had anything else to watch.
Yeah, so it's kind of by default. That's fair. It's like, it's not exactly cheating the numbers, but it's also not quite accurate because the circumstances were different.
Yeah. Then, the professor in this is played by David Graham, who was one of the original voices for the Daleks. And he was also Charlie the barman in The Gunfighters. Just a funny note that, like, the original voice of the Daleks, when he plays people, they're, like, the most pathetic guys ever.
Yeah!
And then he's the Daleks.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
And this story was only written by Douglas Adams because the original version of this story was heavily about gambling, and then they decided, well, we can't really do a story about gambling because we wouldn't be allowed to do that. So
yeah.
It had some of the same ideas of, like, they were trying to steal the Mona Lisa, and it was all about, like, an alien that had to travel back in time and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it's a very different story.
That's fair. That's fair.
But basically,
honestly,
they just...
though, it was a great time.
Yeah, they just, like, locked Douglas Adams in a room and just said, like, hey, you need to write this for us. Rewrite the whole thing. Because the original writer, I think, was, like, going through a divorce or something, so he couldn't rewrite it. So Douglas Adams had to do it. Yeah, I liked the story. I definitely... I didn't like it as much as The Pirate Planet, but it's a good one.
I think I liked Pirate Planet better, yeah. But I did really like this one, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the sci-fi elements in Pirate Planet I liked a bit better.
Yeah. Oh, there was also... Romana loves AI-generated images in this story.
Oh my god, yeah. Watching this story in this era nowadays is crazy, actually.
Yeah.
Like, they're talking about, like, what could be described back then as, like, VFX or, 15 years ago, just people, making art on their tablets instead of, like, on paper. And it's like, sure, there's debate about all that stuff, but those are all fine. But nowadays, when we have, like, AI-generated nonsense, oh boy. It's quite different. It hits different in ways they did not intend back then, I can almost guarantee.
Yeah, it's just so funny coming at it from a modern angle and first saying, like, she doesn't like real people, drawings made by real people. She likes drawings made by computers. And it's like, oh, that means something now.
Yeah, that means something now.
At least the premise of the story is trying to prove that she's wrong about that.
True. It's about real art, which is good.
Also, I just loved how, like, the first thugs that go to get the bracelet back from the Doctor, bring it back to the Count, and then the Count's like, kill them. And then the next scene, he sends different thugs after the Doctor, so they actually did kill them off screen.
Yeah, that's true.
because it's actually different actors playing the next thugs. Although that's also another scene that I just found weird, that like all that happens while the Doctor, Duggan, and Romana are still in the same cafe. Like they never left. Like how long was their conversation there?
Long enough, I suppose.
They must have been there for hours if they managed to have like one set of thugs go there and come back, and then another set of thugs go to pick them up.
Yeah. Or it wasn't very far away, perhaps.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we can move on to some news, because there's sort of some news that has been coming out, in that Russell T Davies has more or less said that we're getting a big announcement soon. He was asked, technically he was asked on like a radio show about like when is the announcement for the next actor who is going to play the Doctor, but then when he answered, he said like there is a press release from the BBC coming in the next week or two. He didn't necessarily say that is going to be announcing a Doctor actor, but that's what he was asked. So we don't know if like that's what it is, or if it's going to be about something else.
And it's worth noting, by the time you listeners are listening to this, it might have already happened.
Yeah.
So we don't know. There is a leak, quote unquote. We don't know if it's a real leak or not about what the press release is.
Yeah.
And the TLDR of that is basically confirming the Christmas special. I forget if it's that it's already been filmed or if it's that in the middle of filming. And, oh man, Billy Piper is so excited to be back as the Doctor. And it's like, not really anything other than confirming that it's happening.
Yeah. There have been rumors going around recently that maybe they might be delaying it to Easter, but those rumors are coming from tabloids that just kind of make stuff up. So
yeah, the tabloid rumors I don't believe, but the leak,
and then
the leaks of press releases, I mean, they're easy to fake, but like they're a bit more believable.
Yeah. I feel like we're probably mostly just getting an announcement because those rumors are showing up saying that it's being delayed, and they're probably just trying to quickly say like, no, it's not getting delayed. I feel like that's really all we're going to say about it. Maybe they'll announce some casting announcements for it.
Yeah, it's possible.
Like in this last week, people have been saying that they might have already secretly filmed the whole Christmas special, and I'm not sure I fully believe that.
And they're just being all like really tight-lipped about it, kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like with all the licensing deals and all like the behind-the-scenes stuff to figure out, I don't believe that they already filmed it. I think they would be filming it sometime this summer. I don't believe the rumors of them delaying it and like, oh, RTD can't find somebody to play the Doctor. Oh, they're struggling so much. Like, no, I don't believe any of that. I think it's just a case of they haven't done it yet because scheduling, but everyone that would be involved, I think, would be interested enough in trying to make it work. I do feel like it might be a lower budget story than people would expect.
Yeah.
Because it's probably off the Disney deal and it's probably in between deals. So, yeah.
Yeah. They probably don't have a lot of money for it. And it's probably better for them to try to do it on the down low, just so hopefully it doesn't leak this time.
Hopefully, but
every single thing has leaked since the 60th anniversary special. We have always had leaks about every single plot point.
Yeah. Billy Piper being the Doctor is kind of the first time they casted or whatever she is.
Yeah.
Is the first time they didn't announce beforehand, this actor is the Doctor. Other than Joe Martin, because Joe Martin was playing an older version of the Doctor instead of a future one. So obviously it still begs the question of, is she really playing the Doctor or not? But even beyond that, I would expect, if there's a regeneration in that story for, whatever the future of the series is going to be, that alone is going to have to be announced beforehand.
Yeah.
As they usually do.
I feel like there's definitely a possibility where the story ends without a regeneration, and it just ends like with a cliffhanger. Maybe it starts a regeneration and then we don't see the ending until next season, just because it largely depends, I feel like, who's going to be showrunner and what's happening there with all that.
Yeah. Even though I still strongly believe, I strongly believe that if Shooty was leaving, that's how they should have ended Shooty's era, with an ambiguous regeneration instead of
Yeah.
putting Billy Piper in to say hello to the camera.
My theory about that is that Russell T Davies wanted to guarantee that they gave him at least one more episode, and it's
You
like
know what?
nobody else was going to pick up the Billy Piper thing. Like nobody
Yeah.
else was going to take that job, so it guarantees him at least one more episode.
To write out a finale he's at least satisfied with.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
feel.
I could see that. I could definitely see that.
Yeah, I guess we'll see what that announcement is. Possibly it might have some casting announcements from that. It could also theoretically be an announcement about like when the next season is going to show up, maybe if we're lucky, and who's in charge of that season.
It would be big. Maybe we'll be talking about that next episode, depending on what happens.
Yeah, unless the announcement gets delayed farther, and we don't have it in the next couple of weeks. But then Big Finish also had some big news recently, which is that Arthur Davo is going to be doing a 4-part, I think it's like one box set with River Song in her series. So Rory and River are reuniting.
That's exciting, honestly. It's kind of surprising they haven't been able to do anything sooner, considering the two of them have done a lot of Big Finish.
Yeah. And this is, from Rory's perspective, it is while him and Amy are divorced before Asylum of the Daleks.
I'm disappointed about that, not gonna lie.
I think it's a good way to explain why Amy's not there, at least.
It is. It is a good way to explain why Amy isn't there, but I really didn't like that time for them because it came up so abruptly, and it felt very selfish of the characters to go through that. The way it was presented, at least, what they presented to be the problems and all, it bothered me. So I'm not looking forward to getting more of the angst between the pawns. I think it would have been cooler if it was, because we know River can go check in on them in New York in the past. She does. So I think it would have been nicer to have a story set during that time and what kind of antics they can get into when they thought that era of their lives were over, kind of thing.
Yeah. I know the Death and Life of River Song, the premise of that is that this is River after everything, where like the consciousness from the library was put into a clone body.
Yes.
And that's where it is from River's perspective.
Yeah, so she's been given new life, basically.
Yeah. I don't think I will necessarily check these out because like I'm not a fan of River Song all that much. I don't like River Song that much. I don't really like the Pawns all that much either, just because they're always about the romance drama and it gets tiring.
Yeah, that's why I'm not looking forward to this. 'Cause I think so much of Rory in this is going to be about like learning to like figure out how he's feeling about Amy, and I'm just not really looking forward to that because like I would much rather hear about their life after the Doctor, especially if this is River after her death, and then she comes back. Like I would love the parallel there of what that would be like, but I don't know.
It's nice that they got Arthur Dovell back because like he has done Big Finish before, but I think it's been a while since he last did it. So it's nice he's coming back though.
I think it's been a couple of years. There was the Last Centurion series, some like a year or two back, I think, or maybe it was more than that at this point, where it was stories from his time in that 2,000 years as a plastic Roman soldier.
Yeah, I think that was a while ago,
which is a great time to pick up. But
yeah, it's good for the people that are excited for that. I'm sure some people want it, not necessarily me though.
Yeah, I'm glad they're doing more with the characters. I would have rather it was from a different point for them instead of where they're picking, but I'm sure there'll be fun stories.
Yeah. But if you'd like to join us on our journey here, we do have a Discord, or we have a Patreon, where for $1 a month, you can get access to our Discord, and we'll have places where you can talk about stuff between the episodes that we're watching. and you get early access to episodes as well. And for $5 a month, you can get into our companion tier, where you can watch live as we record. We'll have live text chat, and we'll chat with you, and you can tell us why the City of Death is actually the worst Doctor Who story ever. And for our next episode, we will be watching The Creature from the Pit and Nightmare of Eden, which are both 4-parters. I can't say I know much about them, although I do know K9 will obviously be coming back now.
Oh, good. More K9.
With his new voice actor.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And then Creature from the Pit was actually the first one that they filmed of this season. They filmed the first 3 of them in reverse order.
Oh,
so
that's interesting. Okay.
technically Creature from the Pit will be the first time that Lalla Ward is actually playing Romana.
Mm-hmm.
But we've seen her in 2 stories before that. In Nightmare of Eden, I know behind the scenes it was actually a nightmare, and that's why Graham Williams decided to quit, was because of how bad this one story went. Because I think the director quit halfway through filming it, and then the producer had to take over, and then
so
a lot happened there.
This is gonna be rough next week. We're gonna have a lot to say, I think.
Nightmare of Eden is also like an anti-drug PSA, basically, is the premise.
Okay.
It's about how drugs are bad. That's all I know about it.
Alrighty then.
Yeah, as a reminder, make sure to watch The Creature from the Pit and Nightmare of Eden before our next episode. You can find them on BBC iPlayer, or the Doctor Who Classic YouTube channel, or Tubi TV. And if you support us on Patreon for just $1 a month, you can get access to our Discord, as well as early access to episodes. I've been Joy. You can find me on social media at JoyContent.
And I've been Triss. You can find me at ToonTriss.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.